Welcome to the Trailblazer game. This is a game for people who have decided to step up into who they fully are in order to lead and create value for others. In this game here, today we are joined by people who are ready to play, ready to go all in and create a higher level of impact. And we're focusing today on vision. We're focusing today on really seeing what it takes to bring our impact to the next level. And I can't help but think about this here. Yesterday, I got a chance to go and spend some time at a Boys to Men concert. And it was out in Singapore, and we got a chance to go right up to the front. It was quite amazing. A friend of mine shook one of the hands of the singers. And what was going through my head as we were enjoying the experience was that this group has been around for, 35 years, something like that. Like they've been around for a long time. And to be in that room and to see thousands of people just start singing their songs, using their words, and knowing that like there are some people in that room that were there because of their songs. You know, it really got me to think about what really stepping up into your message and expressing your message in a way that can reach others can be like. So for today, as we play this game, that's what's on my mind. The element here of being so fully expressed that your message transcends not just yourself and not just into other people, but can also like stand the test of time. And to do that, we're really getting into the essence of your message and the congruence of what it is that you need to say. Because what I have found is when we're really speaking to the truth of who we are at the soul and the message that we have in that regard, then we're able to let out the truths that are truly universal. So I don't know how today's conversation is going to go. I like to keep things open. My job is to create the space for amazing trailblazers to come together and then play. So that's where we are right here. I'd like you to think for a bit for yourself. If in 20 years' time, 30 years' time, there were people out there who found themselves identifying with your words. It could be 5 people, it could be 5,000 or more. But they identified with your words because you chose to say it, because you chose to put that message out in the world, because you chose to live your mission in the world. What is it that you'd like them to be saying? You don't need to answer that right now, but keep that in your mind. We have a very fun room here today with some amazing, amazing people. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to allow us here, we'll go one at a time, to go around here, just speak ourselves into this room. And the way that I'm going to invite us to speak ourselves into today is not in terms of what it is that we're looking to aspire to, not in terms of where we're hoping to get to, but to speak ourselves into our leadership right now, to speak ourselves as we are, as the trailblazers that we are. And I'll give you an example. Hi, my name is Niiamah Ashong. I bring together a truly inclusive and empowered world each and every day. I'm the leader of Trailblazers and leader of the World Joy Movement. It's what I do. So I want us to use the spaces. Whenever I bring the Trailblazers together, it's about practice. That's probably the one word that I want to make sure comes out there. It's service and practice. This is an opportunity for us to, in this space, get a chance to say the things that we're not necessarily sure we could say or how we would say it. This is a chance for us to be able to explore some of the things that are in our mind that we're trying to get out. And we haven't really been able to put a finger on it, all right? There'll be some group coaching, there'll be some masterminding, there'll be some discussions that take place. Whatever is necessary to get you all what you truly need, I'm gonna pull it all out of that for us in service here. So why don't we do this here? We'll start off with Liana, and then we'll go to Monique, and then we'll go to Maria, and we'll continue from there. But why don't you speak yourself into this room and let us know who you are and what you stand for. Leanna, I've unmuted.
Perfect. So my name is Leanna Meyer, and I, see here, I feel like what I do is I let children with special needs truly be themselves, and I feel like they're here to teach us, adults, parents, teachers, and I'm kind of that bridge between both of those. And those strong reactions that they have and emotions, I can, decipher what's really going on and the truth behind it. So I'm here to find out what that truth is in every relationship and bring that out on both sides so that I just bring everybody home, the parents, the children, and just this amazing centeredness, peace, and calm. And I just know what to say to those children and to those people that are involved with those lives. Yeah.
All right, thank you for that. We'll keep playing for now. Have you here.
Yeah.
Monique, and then Maria.
Hi, I'm Monique Corsell. So what I do, well, here's what I found, that you can lead and bring people together, or else you can lead and pull people apart. And I think it's really important to navigate in our own lives, whether it's with our friends or our family, in our places of work, how those dynamics are at play. Because they might not even be conscious habits that we have. So what I do is I help people address issues, the hard ones, you know, when we talk about mental illness, drug addiction, when we talk about issues of race, these are all really, really, truly hard conversations that I want us to be able to like dig into and sit with that uncomfortableness and just hear what other people have to say. Because people feel things for a reason, and when we put walls up and we prevent people from speaking their truth, then it just builds and builds and builds. So what happens if we change those relationships with our parents, with our friends, with our family members, with the people who are closest to us? Because in my experience, I find when I try and speak truth to a stranger, they won't hear me. But if I try to speak truth to someone I love and I come at it with loving kindness, they're more receptive to it. So how can we change the world? By changing our immediate surroundings and the conversations we're having in those.
Fantastic to have you here, Monique. Thank you so much. Maria, and then Robin.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to see some familiar faces. Nice surprise in the group. So my name is Maria. What do? I support and empower leaders and individuals to forge, to build, and to grow partnerships that transform the world. Basically, I support them to come up with the type of partnerships that they need to make life-changing impact in the world. That is from solving hunger or tackling hunger, to addressing gender equality, anything that's related to poverty reduction and poverty alleviation. So I'm currently doing that within the UN system. I support individuals all over the world on the type of partnerships that they should be brokering to advance the mandate of the UN, to advance the SDGs. And I'm broadening that through my coaching practice outside of the UN system to empower those that really believe in a change. That is working with philanthropists who have the resources to make that change, or activists who have the voice that want to make that change, or social entrepreneurs who want to come up with a product or a service that is going to make a meaningful impact. So my mission is to support those who really do believe in poverty reduction and poverty elimination and an equal world for all. Thank you.
It's great to have you here, Maria. Thank you so much for that. Robin, let's hear from you, and then Sherlyn, we'll go to you next.
My name is Robin Eaton, and I move through the world in alignment with my intuition. I listen to that voice within, and I teach others how to do the same, how to find that divine voice within themselves, listen and give it expression. And I believe that's how we change the world, is by really tuning in and getting into alignment with our soul. And once everyone moves through the world in that way, we connect in that way too, because that's where the depths of our roots are, is through the soul, is through that connection with one another. And so when we tap into that voice, when I tap into that voice, I'm tapping into everyone. And so I look for that in others, and I help others find how to listen to that voice, how to hear that voice within themselves, how it speaks to them uniquely.
Thank you for that, Robin. Is there anything else you'd like to add? That's what it. I'm like, is she done? Great having you here. We'll go with Shilin and then Renee.
Hi, good morning, everybody. So I feel that a lot of problems in the world today, because there's a lack of love. People don't really understand that, you know, the way to have a good life is actually everybody supporting everybody, so that we can achieve whatever we want in our lives. And most parents today think that good grades are the answers to a good life. Like they do well in school, and then they excel in their grades. But the truth is, the parents need to support the children to fail, and to give them unconditional love, so that they can be the best that they can be. So this is how I'm going through this path now, and trying to impact people in this way. Thank you.
Fantastic. Great to have you here. We'll go with Renee and then Gilad.
Hi, everyone. I'm Renee.
Renee, quick question. Is there
Yes.
any way to get the light so that we can
I
see
know.
your face?
I was trying to do that.
All right. While she's moving there, Gilad, why don't you come and introduce yourself? What we're doing is just letting us just basically speaking ourselves into the room, not as the person that we are aspiring to be, but as the person, but owning that person right now, and speaking that into the room so that all of us in this space get a chance to really see you as the person that you are and the impact that you're making. So Renee's here. Since you just came on, Gilad, I'd like to give Renee a chance. Thank you so much here, Renee, for doing this. I'm glad we got the light. Why don't we bring you back on, bring yourself into the room, and then we'll go to Gilad.
Sorry about that. I just ran in the house, so I had to get everything situated.
You are.
Hi, everyone. I'm Renee. I guess I'm a community cultivator, and I go about doing that by trying to help people excavate all of the ways we've been socialized to think and conditioned based on societal ideas versus our own internal ideas, and how do we parse through what is actually our own beliefs and how we engage with others versus what are the societal conditioning. So if you look at the news, it's always who's always the perpetrator, who's always the victim, or thinking about how we go about doing that and how it's based a lot in socialization. And so I pretty much am someone who's an advocate for equity and however that turns up. And that's how I move through the world oftentimes, sometimes to my detriment, but yeah.
Thank you for being here, Renee. It's great to have you. And Gilad, let us get to know you. We can't hear you yet. There you are. You're unmuted now.
Yeah. First of all, my apologies for being late. For some reason, I got 3:15 was the time they showed me, but I realized I was late when I jumped into the call. So I apologize to you all for getting in the middle of it. For me, I'll start with my passion. Coaching and leadership, for me, it's things that are very aligned, feel with who I am. I'm starting my business around it these days. What it is for me, I feel the world prioritize the things that are not the most important. We somewhere a couple of decades ago, we forgot to prioritize people anymore. And it led us to many of the humane problems we see today. And for me, this is something that's burning in me. And for years, I'm trying to craft something around it. And now, this last couple of months, it's coming out. So I'm very passionate about it. So it's about that, not prioritizing the things that are most important in life, which we're all kind of waiting for a traumatic event to realize that they are not the most important. And with that is always this game of internal versus external, which again, we seek those external things, positions, everything, then when everything can be solved is internal and everything we need is internal. So it's all goes together for me for one thing that I'm passionate about doing in this world. And this is who I am, I feel. So
This is who I am, I feel. Like that right there. If you all know me in one way, shape, or form, you know that's the game that we're playing, right? And the first thing here, I know each of us have our own movements. We have our own things that we're bringing out in the world. And the path through that, from what I found, is to really allow ourselves to be who we are and to really, more than anything else, remove the barriers that are keeping us from allowing that to shine out in the world. A lot of us are here. I asked you all to fill out a questionnaire before here. And some of the questions that were on people's minds were around how do I scale, how to get more people into the room, how do I continue to bring in clients who are aligned and so on and so forth. So we'll be talking about that here, sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly. And the path here on this year in a lot of different ways is the question I would ask you is how can you allow yourself to be visible? And let's do this here. So we're talking about the premise of this whole thing was your purpose and vision. We don't need to like stick to that super rigidly, because there are amazing people on this call that have things that are going on for them right now, and that's what I'm here to serve. But we just talked about the vision there, and one of the things that I look to this space for is a space for us to really be able to be both safe and brave, right? So as we continue here, I'm going to go through just 3 different agreements. Actually, I'll do 4. No, I need to do all 5. We're going to go through 5 different agreements here. And all I'm going to ask is that you put your hand up if you are in agreement with it. If you're not, just let me know and we'll find something else from it, okay? So the first one is that I'm going to hide nothing and hold nothing back throughout this discussion. Is that something that you're okay with? If so, hands up, please. Fantastic. I see all hands. The second is that I'm here to serve you rather than please you. Is that something you're good with in this conversation? All right. Third is, let's set the bar at life-changing. We can have a cool discussion, but honestly, I have a track record of having life-changing conversations, and going forward, like that's the only place I like to play. So are you open to the possibility of this being a life-changing conversation? All right, oh, game on then. All right. Throughout this year, I'm going to lead, but you're in control. Take us to where we need to go. Let's co-create this, essentially. Let's co-create this here and allow us to ask questions of like, right now I'm doing a lot of like the directing and leading, but like there might be something where you're curious about someone else. Like I see that we're here in this space here. I want to make sure that we all get a chance to get to know each other. And so while I'm leading this here, you all are also in control. My ask is that we do one thing. We resist the temptation to help each other. We resist the temptation to help each other. And the reason for that is that I already see each and every one of you as a very powerful person. This is a space for us to reclaim that power and to bring it out in a different way. And so as we go through here, one of the more, it's subtle. There's a lot of things in here that you'll find are subtle here, around subtle ways that we give up our power. And one of them is in choosing to help others and basically take away their ability to have that self-trust, right? So I encourage you, a lot of us here are coaches, a lot of us here, we know how to navigate people. I encourage you to come into this with a curiosity more than a desire to quote unquote help. And then the fifth thing is, so that's a lead in. I'm going to lead, but you're in control. Do I have agreement on that? Just hands up if so. All right. And then the fifth thing then is the brag zone, one of my favorite places to play. So for today's conversation, don't worry about coming off humble or like trying to be humble or coming off cocky or arrogant. Like, we need you to shine and let yourself stretch, be all that you are, and know that the people on in this conversation can handle it, right? The word that I started out this whole thing off with is practice. And we're not trying to practice you being what you were when you came in. We're practicing you playing at your higher level, right? And to do that, we need to allow you to step into everything that you are. So with that being said there, are we in agreement that we can, that we'll be, let's say, comfortable being uncomfortable in the brag zone? If so, hands. All right, wonderful, wonderful. So let's play. We're gonna go around here. I'd like to we have about a half hour left. So what I'll do is I'll open up the floor right here for any of us here. And given that we have our agreements in order, and we know who we are, let's play and see what comes from it. So the question that I have for you is, if you're able to leave this conversation distinct from who you were coming in, what would we need to talk about for this to be incredibly useful to you? I would stay in, like, it might be something that you're feeling fearful about. It might be something that you might need to have courage around. What's the thing that if you can actually discuss here and handle would unlock you to new levels? And we'll just do this popcorn style, like, or just raise your hand. We'll just start off from there, and we'll just go from there. Yeah, Liana.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome.
All right. So not holding back. So this is something that really scares me, and it goes beyond anything that I was like hearing people talk about, but maybe it's in their world. But what's been coming into my world, and I'm kind of like what Robin was talking about, that's actually more about what I love doing the most than what I was talking about. And then like mediumship has come up a lot, like being so intuitive and listening, and actually, like, again, this is hard for me to say in front of all these people where we talk about, talking to other people that have passed, and it has nothing to do with anything I'm doing right now. And all of a sudden it just came in like this last week, the conversations, and that's how I usually know like the next thing to bring in. And I had a dream, and it was kind of scary, but I felt like it was this thing of like, I'm ready, and this feeling of overwhelming peace, and just, it was such a vivid dream. And then I think I was so scared that I found this other site that kind of debunked all of this stuff and anything that was like new agey type stuff. And so it just set off my fear even like more. Like, it was talking about the devil and all this stuff. So I don't want to go too far into it, but when you just say, I don't even know where it would go, but when you said the most fearful thing, and the thing I would not typically talk about with a group of other people, not knowing what they think of it, is really hard. But that's what's come up in the most fearful thing right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, I acknowledge you for that there. Thank you for playing playing full out and going right to it. I get that, you know, personally. The word I use is woo woo or frou frou.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who else here has ever had that experience of like, well, if I really brought out like all of my intuition, or if I brought out what I was really trying to say out in the world, people would be like, what? Show of hands if so. Like, yeah. So you're not alone. You're not alone on that.
Yeah.
You're not alone on that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Keep playing this way. How can we serve you today?
To see what that fear is beneath it, and I've kind of asked that. Well, what is the fear beneath that? Because I've kind of given up on having to figure out where this fits into what I'm doing. You know, it kind of was like this nail in the coffin of like, you just got to let go of like ever figuring out what box you're going to be in, you know? So like, what's the fear behind it? And then how can I still have that confidence that everything I'm doing is just me? Like the work I'm doing with the kids is me. The work that I'm doing with like helping people discover more love is me. The other group that I want to do of like people just talking in this space that already get it, that just want a sounding board. Like it's just all me, and it's all just deepening into who I am. So like, what is the fear behind adding this maybe other tool into my thing? Or yeah, I guess.
Awesome. And so I find myself curious, if there was one experience that you could create, right? That would just be you, you know, one experience that allowed the intuitive, frou-frou, woo-woo, new agey, all that stuff that you are, right? If there was one experience that could rock people's like worlds, because you showed up as you being you, what would you create?
Well, I actually have put this out there, and it's with a certain person, but it doesn't have to be, but say like Mike Dooley. So I actually had reached out to him after, I think it was after the intensive actually. And I'm like, oh, I'm just putting myself out there. I was like, I've directed children's programs. I was at the New Thought Center for a little while. Like, have you ever thought of having children out on these adventures? So like, while they go on these, they have these like tut adventures. Like if you did a tut adventure and you had families come, because a lot of this like personal growth stuff, you don't have a lot of the family stuff too. So it's like, what if you went on this adventure and there were parts where like I was taking care of the kids and they were doing those things, and I could take whatever it is. I don't actually care about curriculum stuff. I don't really care about what kind of his belief is, as long as I align with it a lot. So then I would just create a curriculum and do that and be with the children and with the families and like connect the families. And I'd be on this adventure. Like that to me really excites me, is traveling with families and being able to still teach a curriculum that's based on strength and intuition, energetic work, that type of thing. So that's something that I've really been trying to pull in and focus on, and whether it's with that person or not. Yeah.
What's interesting to me is, and I don't know if y'all hear this here, but when she describes this here, do you like hear the energy in that voice there? Like I'm not hearing fear at all, you know?
Yeah.
I'm hearing excitement. I'm hearing like this is what I like to create out there. Like, let's what if we were able to use a lot of us here know Rich Lippin here. So he says, I use fear as a compass, right? Mm-hmm. So what if we were able to use that in this case here, for you to be able to not have to label the fear and it's a good or a bad thing, or to have to get to the root of why do you have this fear, but instead use it as like, oh, there's many other things I can do that are just normal. They're likely, you'll hear me use a distinction between the next level and the next step. For me, the next step is just, kind of continuing incrementally, positively, but incrementally along the path that you are in, right? Yeah. The next level is playing, it's basically a discrete jump. And with enough of those next level jumps, it's like it comes together to look more exponential, right? Mm-hmm. And so it feels to me from what you were just saying right here, that some of that fear is where your next level might live. And when you describe that there, did you what's going on in your body right now?
I'm totally excited. I can definitely feel it, because that's the next step. I mean, I'm already like starting to talk to people, like I talk about special needs, like just traveling with families that have kids with special needs, and then just traveling with them and making their unit feel really secure. Like I'm like this glue that kind of can hold them together when like this kid's all, you know, being hyper, and then their parent doesn't know what to do, and then they're stressed out, and I just kind of like hold it all together. But I want to do it in an adventure form. Like I want to be out and doing something and changing. Yeah, so I can feel the, like that's a step that I have been continually changing, and with families that get it, and I can have a conversation about all this stuff. Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's slow this down here and like allow yourself to follow that excitement, right? I'm hearing the word adventure. It keeps coming up here. Like if you're able to slow down and just spend some time just kind of crafting what it is for one thing, not like down to the detail, but just getting solid in, for you in terms of what would just be fun. I feel that like the rest of it will follow, because we don't know that I get it. A lot of the challenge that we have right now is that there have been a lot of people who said, this is how it gets done. This is what makes sense. This is concrete, so on and so forth. And we look around the world and we see what we've gotten as a result. Right. So part of the reason we're on this call is because this is a group of people who are willing to do something different. Right. And so I lean into that excitement there. Right. When they get into the room, bring whatever you bring in. I don't know, like if I have intuition or if guided or what, like, I don't know, you know, but I do know that if I get people into a room, great things will happen. And we'll just allow it to go through. And there's people on this call here that are probably going to follow their own intuition throughout it and bring out some other things. So my ask for each of you as you're on here is if there's a gift that you have, a gift that you normally hold in exile that you don't let other people see, bring it out. Again, we're practicing. This is the courage zone. This is the place where we can play a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna leave you with that a little bit here. Thank you for this year. Feeling good?
Yep. Thank you.
Right. Awesome. So some of you have been in environments where there's been like this kind of coaching environment before. I don't want to just like leave this unsaid here. When sometimes like I'll go in and I'll talk to someone. Other times it might be like an ask that comes with everyone else. But while I'm working with someone, there's a couple different ways that you can play. You can play from the standpoint of what would I, if this was someone that I saw and I brought my gift to the world, you know, what is it like how might I serve this person, right? So you can play in the realm of being the trailblazer for that person. And I think that will give us a lot of the benefits. You can play from the standpoint of, this is actually, if this was me getting coached, if I was getting experience in that, you know, what are my answers there, or how does this apply to me, right? You can play from that perspective. There's a number of different ways that you can play. You can play from listening to what I say and say like, oh, like there's something that Niiamah does that I'm really trying to figure out, like, why did he ask that question? What's going on there? So there's a lot of different ways that you can play this game here. And not everyone we may not go deeply into everyone's thing today. But what I do know is that each of you are being served by us having these conversations here, right? As we continue here, allow yourself to be selfish. We're in a group here, and I get that like my thing is, the more selfish you can be, the better the world will be, because of who y'all are. You know what I'm saying? Because of who y'all are. So let's keep playing. Who else would like to play right now? Hey, Monique. And if nothing comes up, there's other things that I have to go with. So like, don't feel like we need to do this in this way. We can change it up if so.
Hi.
Heyo, Monique. How are you?
How are you? I'm good. How are you?
Right now I am smiling. I can feel an energy in my chest. I'm like, oh, is this happening? Because what you don't know is that I have been wanting to do this for about a year and a half. So y'all right now are helping me fulfill my, like, what is the thing that's been most scary to me, you know, to really pull in the people who are playing at this level. So, and you know what? I'm having fun. So yeah, I'm doing really well. Thank you for asking.
Good.
How can I serve you? Or how can we serve you?
Yeah. Okay. So there's a couple big things coming up in the future. I might be doing some work with the Indigenous Student Center at the U of M, specifically on white fragility, which is fucking terrifying. Just simply because people get pissed off, right? So I am a little bit nervous about that, but I know if I like create the proper agreements that it might be able to lead way to like a good conversation. And I think acknowledging the feelings in the room, because I think the more that we try to repress things, the more anxiety they cause. So there's that. And in January, we're hosting a high tea for the Manitoba Animal Alliance, which is, we're not a rescue. So it's an organization in alliance with First Nations and Inuit communities of Northern Manitoba. So while I've been doing fundraising for them, because they do spay and neuter clinics, dog management programs within those communities, we have a lot of people who stereotype. It's really common to be like, oh, those people on the res are so shitty, they don't take care of their animals. So I've kind of like made the request that when we host this high tea, that we acknowledge all of the volunteers and all the people in those communities that are working for us, so we can change the story.
So Monique, I'm going to pause you really quickly. I'm following, right? I'm tracking with you, but in the interest of time here for today, because I want to make sure we really get into it, how can we serve you here?
I guess I just want like the courage, and like when I get afraid, I want to like shell up into this like little ball and not take more steps, right? So I know that I'm taking those steps. I guess it's like, I don't know. I just want like courage and strength and support, like support knowing that like I'm gonna fuck up. It's just like gonna happen. And that when I do that, like I can just pick myself back up and have like people help pick me back up and just be like, yeah, that sucked. Let's fucking go. Pardon my language. But having people know that, I mean, having me know that like I'm doing what needs to be done no matter how shitty it feels sometimes, right?
Awesome. Can I ask you, like, you're having a conversation on white fragility.
Yeah.
That is that in a lot of different ways on like, it's not only like not an easy conversation, but it can feel like a very dangerous conversation. Am I right about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And is it possible that the people who have volunteered or who are going to be in that room are also afraid of fucking things up, saying the wrong things, all that? Is that possible there?
That's true. That's so true. Thank
What
you. That's what I needed. That's what I needed.
Yeah. What did you get from that? There's something else I'll say, but what did you get from that?
I got that if I'm feeling that way, then to just be like straightforward and honest about that in the forefront allows permission for people to acknowledge that in themselves. You saying that just was like, oh yeah, I do have permission to mess up, and I can give other people permission to mess up too, right? Maybe it's like acknowledging, like we write on a little piece of paper, like I'm giving myself permission to mess up in this, and people in this group are here to support me with that. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Absolutely. My invitation for you here is in each of these experiences to make each experience the world that you want to see. Right? We're not working toward anything like their ability to see you fucking up and to see you say something or step on someone's, like whatever it is. And the way that you navigate that is the session.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
If you don't fuck up, it's actually a disservice to them.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, and like it's, you know, you mentioned something about the word agreements, right? I wasn't sure if I was going to do agreements here today, but I'm like, it's too powerful not to do it, right? My invitation with you is like, as you're doing this, however you choose to do agreements, you saw how I did it here. But it felt like for me, it feels like you're creating that space. You're creating a space for them to do it, right? My invitation for you as you're doing this is to figure out the agreements that you need to be able to really show up for them. And the things that you're afraid of they're in their mind too, but they don't have anyone out there to actually put it out there.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
So just be authentic. Yeah. Cool.
I think the word that you use, honest, I think being honest is like sometimes it's really hard to know if you're being authentic or not, but being honest, I think that you can do. And you can call yourself out if not, because that's also being honest, right?
Thank you, Niiamah.
Yeah. I feel like you're complete. I was going to ask if anyone else had anything else, but I feel like you got what you needed right there.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Boom, boom, who wants to play? And we could play a different way if necessary. I asked each of you to talk about think about your unconventional truth. Right. One of the things that we do in the as Trailblazers here in the Trailblazer game is really to see the world differently. One of my mentors, Peter Block, he talks about creating a future distinct from the past. Mm-hmm. And so I asked each of you around your unconventional truth because it's the distinction that you see. Would anyone like to share their unconventional truth in this moment here? It's the one that goes, most people believe X, Y, Z, but the truth is 1, 2, 3.
I'll share.
All right, Robin, come on.
Most people believe that they have to make a choice between two things. And I believe we can have both. Most people believe they have to choose between the woo-woo and being accepted. And I believe that we can have both. We can be deeply connected to our intuition and our spirituality and the divine within, and find belonging and acceptance. And I don't think it just applies to that. I think that way of thinking applies to nearly everything that we go through. We don't have to make a choice. And that's something that we've been taught by society forever. You can have a successful career or you can have a successful family. I believe we can have both. I believe there's always an and that we can step into that.
Thank you for that, Robin. And as you're saying this here, what I would like to do here is I've never done this in Zoom, and I'm stepping out myself here. I'd love to split us out into breakout rooms, right? We have we have 15 minutes. I'd like to give us just about a minute each for us to go into a small breakout room, right? And for us, each person to get a chance to tell the other what their unconventional truth is. And also just and the other person to ask them one question about that truth. Just one clarifying question, one place where you might be curious or something like that. But I've never done this before, and I think this will be fun too. So we're going to split up into a break. The element here is to speak what is really true for you. And your goal, if you're listening, is to try and hear what's behind it or what's missing for you, right? And to ask a question there that can help this person in front of you get that much more clarity or be able to just express it with everything there, right? So just be on their team is how I'll put it. All right. It'll take about 5 minutes. We don't need to make this too long. So just go in, ask a question. You can choose to answer it. And then go in, ask the question, answer it, and then switch, right? You'll get like a 1 minute notification from me in a bit. This should take about 5 minutes for us all. All right. I'm going to split us up into breakout rooms now. Any questions about that here? When I say breakout rooms, it's just going to put us all into just different groups together. We'll be in there about 2 or 3 people in each room. And we'll make it happen from there. All right, I'm just going to split it randomly. Here we go. And I might hop in. Actually, I'll stay out here. So have fun. Would anyone like to share, one insight that they either got from either saying this or asking the question. You don't need to go into someone else's experience, but just to kind of just help us all kind of come back into this room here. Would anyone like to share one thing that either showed up or there's something like to share? Hey, Gilad.
I think, well, what I realized in this conversation and lately, that behind every person is a very powerful mission. Sometimes it's in words, sometimes not yet, but behind everyone is some powerful mission. And, you know, just a chat of a minute and a half, I discovered a powerful mission Shirley has. And I think the difference is if we speak it into the world or we keep it to ourselves.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Anything else that you'd like to share? Awesome. Yeah, and we don't need to. So I'm good with that there. I am thrilled as we wrap up here. I'm thrilled that all of you got a chance to come and play with us here today. As I mentioned earlier, this is the fulfillment of a dream of mine for a bit, and honestly, this is. In January, I'm opening up a program where we're doing this on a regular basis. And this is, for me, it's really around how can we continue to bring Trailblazers to show up fully in the world and to be able to also create the businesses and movements that go along with that there. And so y'all have gotten the chance to really help set the tone of what it is, including the first ever breakout room sessions that I've done. So, thank you for that. I honor you for that. And thank you for letting me be a trailblazer as in my own way along this path. We're going to do one more thing just to close us all out here. But if you are interested in finding out more about the Trailblazer program that's starting out in early 2020, let me know. Just send me a message. We have next Monday, we have one more of these sessions. So feel free to come and join us. It's at the same exact time. But feel free to come and join us. If there's another Trailblazer or someone that you know that you feel would be served by this, let them know. Each of these sessions are standalone, and I like to just serve whoever's in here at this point. All right. I'll reach out to you to get some more information, see how things are developed for you all. But I just really want to acknowledge you all for being here. And I'm really looking forward to what comes next. So with that in mind here, let's go around. Let's go through each of the squares here and just share a one sentence insight that you want to take from this year. It could be a one sentence, one word, one phrase, but just one thing to help us close out. We'll get everyone in here and we'll end today's conversation. All right. A recording of this will be available to you. I forgot to add, a recording of this will be available to you. You have an opportunity to join a Facebook group where it will be displayed, and we can continue the conversations from there. So you can continue to get to know one another. All right. Awesome. So I'll use on my screen. Sherlyn, you're showing up as the first person on my screen here. So if you can share a sentence, phrase, or word with us to wrap up your experience or to take you forward, let us know what it is. And then we'll go to Gilad afterwards.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
Gilad, thank you.
Don't wait to have it perfect. Just share it out and the right people will come along.
Robin.
I'm going to break the rules. I have two. First is, because I'm a rule breaker, trailblazer. You never know who needs to hear what you have to say, so speak it out. And the second is something that Liana said, which is let go of trying to figure out what box you belong in.
Thank you. Liana.
There's more of confirmations to myself that I do bring people home effortlessly, and that it's really good to be excited about things that my excitement was what brings people up. Yeah.
Thank you. Monique.
Truth and honesty. Thanks,
Maria.
Niiamah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I read this saying, and I may not know it word for word, but it's stuck in my mind and has been driving me quite a bit lately, which is instead of spending so much time trying to figure out who you were and examining the past, spend time trying to becoming who you want to be and focus on being that person who you want to be.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
And Renee.
Mine is very similar to Marianne's, actually. So this has been sitting with me, and I actually sent it out to some people earlier. It's a quote that I used to always say to my students to have them think about themselves. It's by Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu. And so he says, I don't become what I think I can. I don't become what you think I can. I become what I think you think I can. And so, yeah. So thinking about, like, oftentimes we show up not as our true selves, but as the self that we want people to think about us or to believe about us. And is that the same as our true self? So, yeah.
Yeah. It's a nice way to just kind of have some things percolate here. I'm going to honor the time that we have here. It's absolutely great to see all of you. Feel free to unmute. Hopefully I'll see you next week. Feel free to send me any messages and things like that. And I'll let you know about the Facebook group. It should be opening up tomorrow for everyone. All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks,
thank you so much
Niiamah.
for inviting
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you,
Bye, all.
everyone.
Lovely
Thank
seeing
you
you
all.
guys.
Hey, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, all.